Okay, the other Maamar we basically finished. We're going to start now Shavuot Maamarim and Likkutei Parshas Bamidbar, page 24, first column. Okay, the pasuk says, the Gemara says, when the Yidden said Nasa before Nishma and Hey Sivan, Yatza Baskal, a voice came out from heaven and said, Mikila Lebani Rozeh, who revealed to my children this secret, that the angels use. Shenema, because the pasuk says, until him, Baruch Hashem Malachim. The Malachim will bless Hashem. The strong ones, I say Devari, the ones that do His will, the Shmaya B'Kol Devari, the ones that listen. So first it says the ones that do, then it says L'Shmaya B'Kol Devari. Bereisha I say V'Hada L'Shmaya. Okay, so basically the Gemara says that when the Jews said Nasa v'Nishma, Nasa before Nishma, a voice came out from heaven and said, who revealed this secret to my children that the Malachim use? Because by the Malachim we find Nasa before Nishma. So he says, to understand what this all means. In Bamidbar, by the way. How we need to understand this whole concept of Matan Torah. Avraham Avinu kept the whole Torah before it was given, like it said, Vayishmer Mishmarti, Mitzvayse Chukaise V'Soraise. Like it says, he kept my watching, my mitzvahs, my chuk, and my Torah, 4 things. Upratar L'Dvarim Mishmarti Ele Mitzvahs Leisase. Mitzvayse is Mitzvahs Hasei. V'Chukaise V'Torasei, and B'chinas Pnim, Shal Mitzvahs Hasei V'Leisase. Okay? In other words, the pasuk says, Avraham Avinu kept 4 things. Okay? It says, Vayishmar Mishmarti, Mitzvayse Chukaise. So it says, these 4 things represent negative mitzvahs, positive mitzvahs, in the external level, and then in the pneumius level of these things. Kamesha Kosim, like it says, Lemana Shiyatzav is Bana, that he should command his children, Avedei Hoysa, to Yerushalem Yavisenu. The others kept Torah. In Mitzrayim, Yaakov made a yeshiva. The Eden in Mitzrayim learned Torah. So what's the greatness of Matan Torah? The others already kept Matan Torah. The others already kept the Torah. What's so great about Matan Torah? Also, another aspect of Har Sinai, Matan Torah, we need to understand. Hashem came down in Har Sinai. The chaos of V'rakim with thunder and noises and commotions. Ba'atzeres HaDibris, and the 10 Commandments. Al kol dibur v'dibur parchin nishmasim. And it says like this, it was a whole act, thunder, lightning, every word Hashem said of the 10 Commandments, the neshamas popped out of the body, Hashem had to resurrect them with the dew of lust. He says, and what does it already say? Don't kill, don't commit adultery. I mean, those stuff they kept before. It was not a unique, wow experience of Matan Torah. It's Shem Devarim Pshutim, Shegam Esechel Anushim Yechayvim. Logical, you don't steal, you don't kill, you don't commit adultery. These are all logical things. So what's the great commotion of Matan Torah when he said these simple things? He didn't say, if you want to make a commotion, he should have said, Paraduma, milchiks and fleishiks, shotness, things that are totally irrational. No, what did he say? Don't steal. And not only that, most of them were part of Shev Mitzvahs B'nai Noach. Most of the 10 Commandments are all part of the 7 mitzvahs that the Goyim have to keep. So what's this great thing with this?
Is he saying there's 4 Leisas things in the system?
No, that's not what he says. The pasuk says, Mishmarti mitzvayse chukaise v'seiraise. So it refers to negative mitzvahs, positive mitzvahs, and then the meaning of negative mitzvahs and the meaning of positive mitzvahs. Okay. So he asked her 2 questions. First of all, what's this whole inyan Nasa v'Nishma? What's this whole inyan of Matan Torah with the whole commotion when the others kept the Torah? Thirdly, he asks, it was simple things in Matan Torah. What's the whole commotion about? So he said, after it says, after the Ten Commandments, after Asar Dibros and Pashas as Chanon, it says, Ki Yisholcha ben, in the same Pasha as Chanon, it says, Ki Yisholcha ben Chamacha Leimer, if your child will ask you sometime next, in the near future, Ma'edos, what are these mitzvahs God gives you? V'amart levincha, v'ayetziviyeinu Hashem la'ati says kol ha'chukim ha'ela. What do you tell them? Hashem came with all these mitzvahs, liyiras Hashem, to fear Hashem, which, as it says in Yerushalmi, that's the shail of the Ben Chacham. Right? The Chacham asks, Ma'edos v'chukim ha'mishpatim, which are all these things. B'yeis, what is the shail of the Chacham? He said, "B'yeis kine kol klal kol hamitzvos leishayach al haneshama rak b'yeisim ulebeshet beguf gashmi." The only concept of mitzvahs are only when it's in a physical body. Asher mitzvah roes rabbis. Only when there's evil existing in the world. And then you can command the person in the body, surmet, don't do bad. The neshama out of the body doesn't have a surmet. There's no ra there to be able to turn away from. And there's no purpose, they can't do any of these mitzvahs. Shaguf nimshech achrav, that the body normally is drawn after evil things. V'aseite b'kiyam mitzvahs asei, a mitzvahs, baisis, b'gashmis, physical mitzvahs. Like tzitzis, tefillin, shofar, sukkah, lulav, or similar things, masha'enk and a neshama la'atzma. But the neshama, before it comes down, the yidas leila mazeh, lislabish b'guf, to come into a body, lahayis tzricha lekach. You know, the Rebbe is explaining what is the question of the Chacham. The Chacham is not stam asking, ma'edos, what are all these mitzvahs about? Because if he's a Chacham, he's supposed to know what they are. So obviously the Chacham is asking a very deep question. The Chacham's question is, obviously, the whole concept of Torah mitzvahs, the Chacham says, is a neshama in a body. Because then you can have negative mitzvahs and positive mitzvahs. Positive mitzvahs deal with physical objects. Tefillin, sukkah, lulav, shayfa, whatever. You have negative mitzvahs, sur merah, don't do evil. That means you have to be in a place where it's prone to do evil, and the Torah says don't do evil, which means a neshama in the body. So the Chacham's question is, why? Why does the neshama have to come down into the world to do Torah mitzvahs? What is accomplished by that? That is a brilliant question. Don't create the world and don't have a neshama coming down. The question is, Lama Yazeh Yardan Neshama Kokach. The Chacham's question is, why does the neshama come so far down? The slabish beguf gashmi, to dress in the physical body, bishvil kiyam ma'ayitzah mitzvahs, mitzvahs ma'ayitzahs, to do physical mitzvahs, u'mayisin la b'chol amal. What is the purpose for all this effort? Why can't the neshama just stay where it was, and that's it, and enjoy Gan Eden? What is the purpose of it coming down? And then the pasuk answers us, what's the ultimate purpose of all mitzvahs? Leyiras Hashem, to fear God. That's what the pasuk says. What's the answer to the Chacham? At least in Chumash. Vayetzaveinu Hashem Elokeinu lasi, says kol hachukim ha'ela leyira eisei, to fear Him. That means the Chacham's question is, why does the neshama come down into the world? So the answer is to fear Hashem. So again, what does that mean?
But there are a few questions here, right?
Yes.
First it asks about what's the purpose of Ten Commandments.
No, first it says, what's this concept of Nasa before Nishma? We're going to do, and then we'll hear what you say. Then he says, what's the inyan of Torah, Matan Torah, the Davis already kept the Torah. Thirdly, it's simple things. Why do you need the whole commotion? And then he says, the next thing is, it says, that's what he's in the middle of explaining now. Your son is going to ask you a question, what is the purpose of the neshama coming into the body? And you're going to tell him the answer is to fear Hashem. So what does all this mean?
To fear
awe of Hashem. He's not really.
Okay, again. For the millionth time, fear means awe. Av is part of the Yira.
Fear is fear, awe is awe.
Yira is klula ba'ava and Ava is klula b'yira.
Yesh pachad, yesh yirah.
Be'inyan, what?
He says that the neshama comes down here to fear Hashem,
Yeah.
and the goof is naturally.
1 second, we don't know what that means. That's what the pasuk answers.
I mean, neshama.
Albeit, the explanation of this is that we say in the davening, but it's a pasuk in Divrei Hayamim. L'cha Hashem Agdula v'Agvura v'Tiferes, all the 6, 7 spheres. Kimasha Kadosh Baruch Hu Nikra Gadol. This, what Hashem is called Gedula, great, like it says, Gadol Hashem Umol Umayed. Hashem is great and very praiseworthy. Amir Azal. Chazal tell us, Amos Nikra Gadol. When is Hashem called great? Shehu Be'ira Lekeinu. Because the pasuk says like this: Gadol Hashem Umol Umayed until him Be'ira Lekeinu. Okay, so the pasuk basically is saying, when is Hashem called great? When He creates Ira Lekeinu, meaning Gashmistic world, the world, the city, the world. He says, Pirush Mashenikr God. This that Hashem is called God. Hashem Gdulose. Why? What's the greatness of Hashem? Hashem is Pashin Miresh Kol Dargan. That He spreads Himself out, He manifests Himself from the highest of all levels, outside Kol Dargan, Liyetz Me'ayin Liyesh, to create Yesh Me'ayin, of Kol Netzalim and Ivra Matzilis and Bri and all that. Ulachayes, not only to create them, but to give them life and make them exist. Like it says, Ata Sisas HaShemayim, Ata Mechayes Kulam. It's the same Ata, the essence of Hashem. He makes heaven, Mechayes Kulam, the Kamadi B'Revavis Elam is totally by my mother. And tens of thousands of levels of world are included in this utterance of Hashem. Like it says, Ayesh Mizpah L'Gedudov, is there a number of his troops? Okay, so the Alter Rebbe is saying like this, he's in the middle of explaining this. The concept that Hashem is called great, the pasuk says the real greatness of Hashem is noticeable, seen, and manifested when it comes into creation of Yesh Me'ayin.
Again?
When it comes and creates worlds. Hine midas gedula zu. Ein nechshaves ein nikras b'shem gedula klal. When is what the pasuk is saying? When is it the level of greatness of Hashem? B'esav is koyach hapel b'nifel. When the potential comes into the actual. Aydei asar and my modest. B'tziru fe'esis, like it says, k'meshe kosm mokamach. But the ultimate greatness of Hashem, not Malchus, the greatness of Hashem is interesting. In the pasuk it said, the Gemara, the lashon of the Chazal is a Masehu Gadol. When is he great? Shobir Alikeinu. Yeah, Chassidus interprets it not a Maseh, Amiti Hu Gadol. Not, it's the same letters. Amiti Hu Gadol. When is the emissary great? Where do you see the ultimate essence of Hashem? When He creates Yesh Me'ayin, because that's Mitzius Me'atzmusei. That's the essence of Hashem.
Can you change the top sentence one more time?
Which top sentence?
Midas, we just said, okay.
What?
No, I got it. That's what you just said. Okay.
It's not called Gdula until it creates. The letters are called stones. Batziruf, and the combination of letters is called houses. Like it says in Sefer Yetzirah, Shnei Avonim Beina Shtei Batim. Two stones create 2 houses. 3 stones create 6 houses. I'll explain in a second what that means. The klal is called Tziruf, it's called B'Shem Ir. In Sefer Yetzirah it says the expression like this: 2 stones, Shnei Avonim Beina Shtei Batim. 2 stones create 2 houses, And then it continues there, the Alter Rebbe doesn't quote that part. 3 stones create 3 houses. 6 houses. What does that mean? What it means in Sefer Yetzirah is like this. 2 letters, Aleph, Beis, can create 2 words. Aleph, Beis, Beis, Aleph. 3 letters can create 3 words. You can have Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Aleph, Gimel, Beis, Aleph, whatever you can, there's 6 combinations. What is Sefer Yetzirah talking about? What are you referring to? The words, letters, are called stones. Why? Just like stones, many stones make a house, many houses make a neighborhood, many neighborhoods make a city, many cities make a state, many states make a country, and many countries make the world. Or a continent, and then many continents make a world. So the same thing is, many letters form a word, many words form a sentence, many sentences makes a paragraph, many paragraph makes a chapter, many chapters make a book. So the analogy between stones and letters, just like stones build, letters build. So Sefer Yetzirah says that the 10 utterances that Hashem created the world with is called stones. And therefore the Pasuk says, the Gemara says, why is the creation Yesh Mi'ayin called Ir, city? Because just like the Sefer Yetzirah says, 2 stones create the city. So when you're talking about a city, you're talking about the words of Hashem that created the world. You create individual creations, which create this, a city and a state and a country. Okay, and that's, you skip the 3 lines. When is Hashem called great? When He creates the world. Because it shows the greatness from Hashem. He comes from the highest of levels all the way down to the lowest of levels. To create Yesh Mi'ayin. In other words, the Alter Rebbe is explaining what the expression of the Gemara is, Eimasehu Gadol, meaning, when can you praise Hashem that He's great? When He creates world. But the level of Hashem, which is infinitely greater than world, higher than Malchus, higher than the level of speech, higher than that level of Hashem that creates worlds, you can't even call Him Gadol. Because an adjective can only be said on something descriptive. If it's not descriptive, you can't describe it. If it's undescribable, well, thank you. Undescribable or undescriptive, you can't describe it. Why can't Hashem be described? Because description means there's a certain level, there's a certain entity, and that entity could be praised. Yeah? You can only praise somebody that they're strong when they're strong. If they're not strong, you can't say they're strong. So that what the Alter Rebbe is saying over here is what the Gemara is saying based on the pasuk. Gadol Hashem umulu b'eid be'ir alikeinu. David HaMelech says in Tehillim, Hashem is great when He comes into Ir alikeinu. So the Gemara says, when is He great? In other words, when can you call Him Gadol? Not the way He's above Ir alikeinu in His essence. Over there you can't describe it.
Infinite, is that an adjective?
Infinite is a limitation that is infinite and finite. But, and the real level of Hashem, you can't call Him infinite. Infinite is also description. Yeah. And it's a limitation that it's not finite.
So it's higher than it.
Correct. Yeah.
This is the stuff, I mean, it's our perspective. For us, the greatest way we could describe Hashem is His creation.
Yeah.
Because beyond that, we don't know. We can't.
Even creation, we don't. Even creation, we don't know. Higher than creation, we for sure don't know.
Right. So that's why for us, that's what the Gemara says. How do we call Him great?
When can we describe Hashem as great? When He's involved in the world. But and the nikr b'shem gadol klal, because ani Hashem le'shanisi, atu kedem shenivrei you're the same God before and after. Makam shata meisik dulas, in the place where you find His greatness. Shamata and motzam and vatsanusa, you see His humility. In other words, when it says, "B'makam shata meisik dulas shalakadosh baruch hu," when you find the greatness of Hashem, meaning in the place where you see Hashem could be described as great. Over there you see His humility, that He lowered Himself to create worlds. Shem is gala b'chinas mitzias is passion v'lei mohusei ki l'gdulosei ein chayk. And that's what it says, L'cha Hashem Agdula. It doesn't only mean, God, you have Gedula. L'cha Hashem Agdula means this attribute of Gedula that creates Yesh Mi'ayin is L'cha bottled to you. It's only a ray.
So but he's at the highest, he's the lowest.
Who?
He created the lowest.
It's only the greatness, like you said, from our perspective. When Hashem creates world, that shows His greatness, that He's able to, in His infinite, above infinite level, essence, to come down here. But that's only that you can describe Him is once He's creating. Before He's creating, you can't even describe Him that. Because before He creates, there is no world. Yeah, no, it's all the same. No comprendo. If you would comprendo, you would be cuckoo. Just like the speech of a person, is bottle compared to the source of speech, which is Havel Alev Kaviyach. Yeah. And he says, in the pasuk says a king rules with speech. The manifestation of this greatness is called Dibur. Now, Devar Melech Shulti means Malchus is Dibur. Now, what is Dibur? For yourself, there is no speech. There is no speech for you. Speech is for somebody else. In fact, years ago, when somebody walked in the street and talked, they were a lunatic. Today, if you walk in the street and you don't talk, you're a lunatic. Because, you walk by people, especially now, they're not holding it. They're talking, you don't need they're talking to you. But Dibur is only when there's a lezulas. So in other words, this level of Dvar Melech Shultin, he says, K'mei Dibur Shah Eina Lezulasi, Kach Gedula V'Ispashta Zu Eina Elo L'Shabis Kol Animsom. It's only when he comes into the creation. And just like that is only, we'll stop here. Just like that is only when there's a foreigner. So Hashem only becomes speech of Malchus when there's a foreigner. Ein Malach B'Layam.